a spotlight comes up on me, Sean, the second best looking member of the YouTube channel. I reach for a pen or some other business related things to begin writing. Then it hits me. 5 o'clock or something.
And 5 o'clock can't come soon enough. 5 o'clock can't come soon enough. 5 o'clock can't come soon enough. I can't wait to get home to my boy.
So it's been 5 years since the guy who doesn't like musicals graced our YouTube feed and changed my perception of musicals forever. But not only on that day were we gifted with a very good musical, but also we were introduced to a kooky biology professor known as Henry Higgins, who also had a musical of his own. A musical about his college days and how they were ruined by business. But here, 5 years later, it's been 5 years? Yeah, 5 years. Sorry, time travel. Difficult to keep track. Where we are gifted with a full insight into what that show would have looked like had there not been a meteor that had prevented it. Originally, this was only available to people who had backed the 10th-anniversary Kickstarter, but now, since their newest show, the Cinderella Castle Kickstarter, has reached a certain milestone, it's been released to the public, which means that I, and all of you, can take a deeper look into it together. Unfortunately, due to stuff that I can't quite sort between fact and speculation, Robert Mannion fell out with Starkid Cast, so he isn't here to reprise his role as Professor Higgins, which took effect in the Nightmare Time 2 series, with him being played by Nick Lang in Honey Queen. But this time, the role is being taken by the one, the only, the great Jeff Blim. He takes the role differently to how Nick was doing more of an impression of Robert Mannion's depiction. He makes it his own, putting his own flavour of unhinged Blim energy, and Higgins is at his most unhinged, as while attempting to get his musical on stage, he gets the go-ahead for Workin' Boys. But with one small change.
Yes! Oh, yeah! Thank you! Oh, this is... Oh, it's all I've ever wanted. Thank you.
There is just one thing.
Yes?
The theater's gonna put up the money, but we'd like to see a few minor changes.
Changes?
There are no boys. At this point in the Hatchetfield series, I have to say what I hate saying about a lot of series that stretch across different mediums and have a lot of content to do with it, but it's got like this MCU effect, where you need to watch a lot of content in order to truly understand what's going on in the newer releases. And it is very evident in this short film, with its relatively short runtime and fast pace, that it does rely on what a lot of previous Hatchetfield entries have done in order for you to wrap your head around the whole story and all of the characters there within. However, it is also quite a simple story that you can get your head around, which we will be jumping into right now. So Workin' Boys has been rewritten to Workin' Girls, and Higgins is nettled. Super nettled. To the point he refuses to rewrite a single line of his script or allow for any ad-libbing in his show, except for changing football to football but for girls. During rehearsals, he even falls back to how he originally wrote the lines for boys.
Like this? All right, boys!
Girls.
Right. All right, boys! Go long!
We have some familiar faces in the cast of Workin' Boys, girls, with Mariah Rose Faith back as Zoe from The Coffee Shop and The Guy Who Doesn't Like Musicals, as well as Lauren Lopez coming back as Ruth from Nerdy Prudes Must Die. Ruth making her acting debut, which should bring joy to many people who watch Nerdy Prudes Must Die as well. That version of Ruth never did get to make an acting debut before she got...
Show's called Big Fucking Wedgie! We're still in previews, but critics say it's quite a killer!
Please! No!
As rehearsals continue, we are given a couple new snippets of some new songs for the Workin' Workin' Girls musical, which I'll go through later. Ruth is showing all signs of I'm gonna mess up my lines, and Professor Higgins is still being Professor Unhinged.
No, Ruth!
Sorry, I was trying something.
Never again.
Got it. Thank you so much for the note.
Opening night arrives, and they all huddle up to reveal the ooky, spooky backstory of why Higgins wrote this musical about a definitely platonic group of friends who used to play football together. It is surprisingly based on his own history with his college friends until a lightning strike killed all of them except for Higgins. He expresses no form of enthusiasm or support for the girls as he sees his image for the show has been tainted by the shameless gender swap, and he would no longer be able to relive those college memories or fantasize about what life they could have had on the stage.
It was the worst day of my life. Until now. When I have to sit there and watch you butcher my show. I'm glad my friends are dead, so they didn't live to see you make a mockery of their memories. I'll never forgive any of you. All right, everyone. Break a leg. Places in 10.
Thank you, Tan.
So the doors have opened, and we are introduced to our Hatchetfield audience. We've got Corey and Joey back as Bill and Ted from The Guy Who Didn't Like Musicals, Lauren and Dylan as Linda Monroe, and Gerald from Black Friday and Honey Queen. Gerald still having a damn hard time, but still is the best damn husband anyone could ask for. Change my damn mind. Sorry. Honey Queen has me emotional about this guy. Then we've got John and Angela as Richie and Grace Chastity representing the Nerdy Prudes Must Die group, with Richie having done some touch-ups to Ruth's headshot. Finally, we have Kurt Mega and Kim Whalen as a cop and the teacher from Nerdy Prudes Must Die, which, seeing these two together, will bring joy to those who have seen Killer Track and The Witch in the Web, because of the whole Miss Holloway storyline involving these two actors. Also, about half of them think the show is about hookers, since it's called Workin' Girls.
They're called.
Ted, no, Ted.
Women of
it's
the
not
night.
about. It's women going for their careers.
In sex.
So anyways, curtains up, and the show is about to start.
They said it isn't long enough. They said the cops will kick you off. They said the seed it just won't take. But that field it had to be made. A sprinkling of Bermuda. We watered it every day. With some elbow grease and can do ya. Our field was ready for play.
I love the songs in this musical. Made It Work, It Takes Balls, 2 Weeks Notice, which comes out of nowhere, and I wholeheartedly love.
Every day the same, you call my name to ream me out and then proclaim that the stocks are down and it's all my fault. Well, I figured it out. This is my 2 weeks notice, my heart's in focus, no bump and pay can stop me.
We only get snippets of each throughout the montage of the musical's performance, but I'm so very thankful there are full versions available somewhere. Apple Music, maybe. Shut up and take my money! As far as I can tell, Workin' Girls is about girls working in the business world, and they long for their old college days of playing football. And then, to save their company, since there's a shortage of rubber, they propose to make pigskin footballs instead, or something?
I'm gonna save this company.
How do you expect to stop the factory from closing? With a rubber shortage, we can't make tires anymore.
We may be short on rubber, but not on pigskin.
Pig, what?
We're gonna make footballs, but for girls.
Footballs, but for girls? That'll never work.
Oh, yeah?
Not fully sure. It's done very quickly. Anyways, Ruth screws up her one line, Higgins hates the show, the audience is having a pretty alright time up until Act 1 comes to a close and Higgins has a backstage chat with some old friends. And I must give a shout out to each and every one of the performers who were here as these undead friends back from beyond, because they did such a great job and they are so unsettling to look at and see, and the audio editing on their voices is just
Craig. Steve. Stu. Mark. Lee. You're all here.
The show's done, said Henry. Really? The sin is gentlest one.
The monsters of the musicals are none other than Greg and Steve and Stu and Mark and Leighton and Chad. Though Chad is kept mysterious and very not present at this time. In fact, Chad is the one they truly fear.
Chad's coming.
He's stuck in the office, but he's on his way. Should be here around 5 o'clock.
Oh God. I can't allow Chad to see this travesty.
Higgins needs to fix the show before he arrives, or there'll be hell to pay. So Higgins decides to cut the performance short. As the curtain rises once more, a massacre is revealed as Professor Higgins decides to do the whole show over, but of course it's just him on his own, and the musical is called Workin' Boys, not Workin' Boy. And so the one-man show doesn't go over well. And as Ted decides to make a break for it, doesn't matter what universe he's in, thanks to Tinky's toy box.
Huh? No! Bang! Fight.
He always meets the same fate.
I told you to stay in your seat!
So everyone takes cover in their seats and the cop hands Grace Chastity his gun, and similar to almost every universe she featured in, she's the one to defeat the monster laid before us. She starts gun blasting and Bible quoting until Higgins falls to the ground to the sound of show, stop, and number, covered in both the girl's and his own blood.
5 o'clock can't come soon enough!
When the Lord thy God hath delivered it into thine hands, thou shalt smite every male thereof with the edge of the sword!
Bring me home to Mom.
As the light leaves his eyes, he sees everyone getting up to run out of the theater. A standing ovation, he calls it. And as he dies with a smile on his face, we cut to credits with the song Business Calls, which very much sounds like a Star Kid version of Workin' 9 to 5, what a way to make a living, starts playing as we try and take in what's transpired over the past 25 minutes. Workin' Boys was a lot of fun, given the relatively short runtime and fast-paced nature of the short film, and there are a lot of Hatchetfield entries that you need to watch beforehand in order to wrap your head around the full story that's going on, as well as understanding the characters within. But the story itself, in isolation, is fairly simple. Higgins writes a play that he wants to perform, the production messes it up, it means a lot to him, Higgins hates it, Higgins kills people, Higgins gets killed. Standing ovation, hooray! But it's the little things like the entirety of the audience being made up of characters we've previously been introduced to, and the playbill featuring a lot of Easter eggs that I'll get to later, that sort of might go over people's heads if they haven't kept up with every single piece of Hatchetfield content that has come out in the 5 years that it's been going on. However, it is with this that if you have kept up with everything Hatchetfield related, which makes sense because this was meant to be a reward for people who backed the 10th anniversary Kickstarter, so if you're giving money to them, you must be pretty invested in everything that they release, then yes, this is an absolute treat to see all of the different stories and characters converge in this one place, and it definitely feels like a celebration of what they've sort of created. It seems like a, hear me out, it's another Marvel comparison, but it's like, you know, the sort of Endgame or whichever. It's a really nice crossover of all the different musicals that they've put out for Hatchetfield. And while Workin' Boy seems like it relies on everything that's come before it, it does in fact introduce something new. The imminent and unseen threat of Chad, which may or may not come along at some point in a future Hatchetfield musical that might be around the corner. Overall, a really good, fun, short film that just celebrates all the Hatchetfield stories that have been put out, centered around my favorite Star Kid Hatchetfield character, Professor Higgins, filled with fun Easter eggs, some easier to miss than others, such as the fucking transcendent line, and the list of shows on the back of the program given out to all the characters, listing things such as barbecue monologues, Mamma Mia, Santa Claus Goes to High School, and Blinky's Watch Party. Also, it introduces some incredible new songs to the vast catalogue of bangers that Starkid has created over the years as well. I really love 2 Weeks Notice. Kim Whalen absolutely knocked it out of the park with that. I'm in love with every single bit of it, and I don't pay money for much, but I'd pay money for that song. Anyways, I've been working on this for quite some time, and I have plans to go play football with a few of my friends. We're gonna meet up around 5 o'clock. The weather's not looking too great for it, but I'm sure we'll tough it out. Anyways, I'm sure we'll be fine.